Hi, this is Win Claybaugh. Welcome to my Best of Masters weekly audio blog for AmericanSalon.com. Next up is one of my favorite clips from the last 20 years of inspiring interviews from Masters Audio Club.
I never actually wanted to be a hairdresser initially. I wanted to be a painter. I was very good at art at school, and I won a competition, a national competition, for a tea company. And I got first place for painting this Scottish soldier, and I really thought that was the direction I was going to take. But as fate had it, I kind of fell out of school. So at the age of 15, when I was allowed to leave school, I did. And my father, who had a two-chair barber shop in the suburbs of London, said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "Well, why don't you come and help me, like sweep the floor, shampoo, and get some money that way?" So I said, "Okay." And at that time, and we are talking 30 years ago, hairdressing isn't what it is today. So consequently, it wasn't glamorous. It wasn't really an appealing job, but it actually was a stopgap at the time for me. But the funny thing is that after 3 months of just standing around watching, shampooing, sweeping the floor, I actually tried one day to cut somebody's hair, a guy called Brizzle Bunce. We used to call him Brizzle Bunce because every week he'd come in and have the clippers run right across his head, right down to a 5 o'clock shadow. And one day he came in, he says, "All right, Trev, you've been watching long enough, cut my hair." So I picked the electric clippers up and just ran the clippers over the top of his head. And obviously it's a very simple haircut, and anyone could do it, but I actually felt comfortable, and I loved that sensation of cutting people's hair. And within, a very, very short time, literally 4 months, I was cutting customers' hair.
It's amazing. Everybody remembers their first haircut. Always. Well, what about in growing in the business? Did your father have some advice for you? Because obviously you've taken it further than your father did.
After 5 years of barbering, I got actually really bored by it. Just because, once again, at the time, short back and sides was the only men's hairstyle that was going. Blow drying was just coming in at that time, or blow waving, as they used to say in England in those days. And as I said, I just came to a bit of a dead end with it, and I decided that I was either going to quit or become a ladies' hairdresser. And in England, you don't have to have a license, but you have to be trained, obviously. And there was a school of hairdressing where you pay for a 6 months course, and they literally turn you out a hairdresser at the end of it. And so I took that course. My parents paid for that. And when I came out, the principal of the school, Martin Gottlieb, he said to me, I see something in you, Trevor, and I think you should go to a good salon. So he recommended that I go to Vidal Sassoon, which I did. And I actually didn't stay there long. I only stayed there a month because in those days there was no payment whilst you were being trained, and I was living 2 hours out of London, so the journeys back and forward plus the no pay situation. I wasn't such a dedicated hairdresser in those days. It really was a means of just earning a living. So I decided to leave there and go to the suburbs and just be a hairdresser in a small suburban salon, which I did for several years.
How do you stay excited, and what can we tell the listening audience to help keep them excited?
Well, firstly, I think boredom is one of the biggest negatives that creep into hairdressing, and I think that's why so many hairdressers buy trade journals, they go and see shows, go to all these events to get them out of that boredom and that rut, I think is another word for the same problem. To me, after 30 years, I can honestly say that I'm probably more excited now as a hairdresser than I was when I first started, because I've seen what it can allow you to achieve. And I'm not talking about just achievements, I'm talking about the buzz you get when you do something outside of your comfort zone, and you think, yes, I did that. I achieved that. I didn't think I could do that, but I did. One of the most important things in life in general is self-esteem and having confidence and feeling good about yourself and what you're trying to do.